Good evening, everyone. I pray that you all are doing well and you all had a blessed and amazing day on today. Okay, everybody, thank you all for tuning in with our Tuesday Night Live, and we're still dealing. This is part 3 of God Repays. So tonight, I thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Lord, Heavenly Father, for the opportunity, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, as we get ready to go into tonight's teaching. And as we go into this teaching, I just hope and pray that something will be said to bring life, good health, and strength, bring clarity, bring wisdom, bring knowledge to whoever and whatever your situation may be, for whoever you're getting ready to step into a new version of yourself, a new place for whatever it is that the Lord is up to in your life in this hour. Okay, everybody, I'm going to read a couple of passages of scriptures, then we'll go right into some notes that I believe the Lord allowed me to write to give over to those of you who are with us on tonight. I'm going to go back and read Ruth chapter 1, verse 16, then I'll go back to chapter 2. Verse 16 reads, "But Ruth said, 'Entreat me not to leave you or to turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God.'" I'm going to chapter 2, verse 2 and 3. "So Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, 'Please let me go to the field and glean heads of grain after him in whose sight I may find favor.' And she said to her, 'Go, my daughter.' Then she left and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the family of Elimelech." And I'll stop right there. Okay, everybody, let's go right on into it on tonight. And as we look at this, tonight we're going to dive in, and we're still with God Repays, but I need someone to understand that in order for Naomi and also for Ruth to get to the place that they found themselves, it took faith for them to get there. And this is why I believe for many of you, I said touched on a little bit on Sunday, that many of you, you're not going to have to tell your story. You will be able to tell your story, but the Lord is going to already have someone who you don't even know, who have been noticing you, watching you. He's going to have someone else to tell your story to the right person for you at first. Now, later on, you will have opportunity to tell your story, but the first initial part of your story being told, you won't have to tell it. The Lord is going to have someone else to speak for you. And why is he going to do that? Because he don't need you to tell too much all at one time. He needs it to get out how he wanted to get out first. So that way, because you don't need to sound or be like you too hungry, you too anxious, or you still unhealed, or you still in a place or in a manner to where and you mess it up. So that's why the Lord is going to already have someone else previously to go ahead of you and tell your story. As we move forward, and watch this on tonight, whoever I'm talking to, and as we look at this, we're going to clearly see that it took much faith for Naomi and Ruth to both get what they was needing from the Lord. And when we see this, I'm going to do my very best to point this out onto those of you who are with us on tonight, because when we look at this, we can see that Naomi didn't believe Ruth was good enough to go back with her to the land of Israel. Naomi and Ruth was together in Moab. So Ruth was good enough to be with Naomi in Moab. But we see in what we read, and I believe when you go back to Ruth chapter 1, around that maybe verse 13 all the way back to verse 16, we could see here's where the pushback is coming. Because now clearly we're seeing that Naomi had to think about this thing. Because see, Naomi knew what the scriptures, what the writings of Moses, what it said, that a Moabite and also an Amorite could not come into the assembly of the Lord all the way until the 10th generation. And the reason being is because the Moabites and also the Ammonites, they were birthed by way of an illegitimate birth. So clearly Naomi knew the history. She knew the story. So Naomi in her mind could have been feeling like, you know what, I bet not take these ladies back with me to Bethlehem, Judah, because I don't know how people would even receive them and also receive me. So Naomi could have easily begun to start feeling ashamed or even begin to start feeling like, if you will, embarrassment. But because Ruth had a note, and now here's the point. Here's where Ruth is beginning to now demonstrate her faith. Ruth didn't care. Ruth made up in her mind to say, look, I already had a taste of the good life. I already had a taste of this thing called love. And see, now I don't want to go back. I don't want to stay here. So being that I had a taste of it, now I want to go back with you, Naomi, to your place, your birthplace, because now I want to be able to everything that you have, I want to have it as well. And see, when we look at this, we can also see that Naomi, we can almost view her as being a backslider, if you will. So Ruth is going to have to use faith. Naomi's going to have to use faith. And see, the Lord needs both of them at separate times. The two of them are going to have to use faith in order to get to where the Lord truly need them to get to, and that is to fulfill their destiny. But it was going to take faith for them to get there. So let's go on into it. So Naomi saw that Ruth was good enough to be with her in Moab, but she told her or pushed her back, didn't want Ruth to go with her back to Bethlehem, Judah. So we can't fault Naomi for this, because we got to see it how Naomi see this. Naomi know her people, and also Naomi knew the writings. So Naomi was feeling some type of way inwardly. She didn't want to tell Ruth to make Ruth feel bad, but she was feeling something on the inside and didn't want Ruth to go through feeling the rejection, the bitterness, or the shame that could have possibly came towards her. But because the Lord was in charge, because the Lord was already in control of the whole situation, everything that what Naomi may have felt prior in the beginning, none of those things happened. Here's why, because I really believe that the Lord was trying to, he needed to see faith from Naomi at first. So let's deal with Naomi and her faith. So sometimes God will test our faith in different situations when things don't look good and or when things don't look favorable. I need you all to see this. Now, the different situations can be, it could be a person, it could be a place, and or it could be a thing. So God was checking, or God can check us to see, will we have faith and trust in him so that he will be able to come through for us in whatever difficult situation we may find ourselves in. But before he can do this, he needs to see faith first. Now, I'm going to do my very best for the time that I have to show you how the Lord came through for Naomi and also Ruth, because he was able to see both of their faith at separate times be demonstrated. So the test is to see, will you keep your faith in God, not quit, and believe past what you see and also what you feel in that moment. And see, here we go again. We can't rule out how Naomi felt. She knew everything about Ruth in her past and also about Ruth's ancestors and also how that group of people came about. So Naomi knew all these things, even though she allowed her son to marry her. But now trying to go back to Bethlehem, Judah. Now Naomi is thinking. So here we go again, y'all. We can't throw a stone at Naomi, because look, if that was any of us, would we have felt that same way? It's possible. But now thank God that Naomi had enough faith within her. Naomi eventually pushed past that. Naomi wasn't stuck. Naomi didn't stay stuck. Naomi was able to keep pushing past, because see, when she saw the determination and also the resiliency that was within Ruth, that Ruth made up in her mind, said, look, I don't care, basic, if I can say it to you like this, bring it to 2024. Ruth said, I don't care what they might think. I don't care what they might say. I don't care what nobody might think or feel about me. I'm going with you because I want to serve the God that you serve, Naomi. And see, that's the mindset that Ruth adopted, and also the mindset that Ruth, she had that. And because she had that mindset, now Ruth's faith was at work. And see, now that was also now being a challenge for Naomi to get her faith to kickstart as well. So as we continue to look at this, now again, Naomi's test was for her to have faith, believe God past what she know about Ruth and what she know about Ruth's culture and also her past belief. What am I saying here? Naomi had to believe past Ruth being of illegitimate birth. Naomi had to push past the writings by the Holy Spirit through Moses concerning what God's word said, that no Moabite, no one who was of an illegitimate birth, no one of the Moabite and also the Ammonite cannot come into the assembly of the Lord. So see, Naomi had to push past that. She had to also push past the fact that Ruth also served a foreign god. And see, she had to push past all those things. And see, now here's Naomi having to have faith. Now, Naomi is going to have faith past what she know, what she heard, and also what she's seen. Who am I talking to tonight? Who's having to have to push past and believe past some things that you heard, you saw, and also what you experienced your own self. See, now it's almost like you're going to have to not trick your mind, but you're going to have to also do something to cause your own self to say, hey, I got to stay in faith here, whoever I'm talking to. Because see, Naomi had to do this. And see, Naomi, she couldn't get in the way. So what did she do? All Naomi could do was just let everything play out. And see, for somebody on tonight, because you've now made up in your mind to say, okay, I'm going to believe by faith, and I'm going to trust you that you got this. You got me, you got this, you got everything. You got the whole 9 yards already covered like a blanket. So, Lord, I'm going to stand back. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep doing what I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to let everything play out like how you need it to. Because at the end, look, somebody, you're looking for success. Some of y'all looking for justice. Some of you're looking for recompense. Some of you, what it is that you're looking for, see, it's going to be the Lord who's going to who make this thing happen for many of you, whoever I'm talking to on tonight. And see, as Naomi had to look past all of these things, see, the relationship between Naomi and Ruth, it was good before. Everything was good before, but as soon as Naomi said, I'm going back to Bethlehem, now they started off together, but then now here go the thoughts of the mind. So now Naomi's starting to think about how she could get treated going back home, and then also how the people could treat Ruth when they get back to Bethlehem. So now Naomi's beginning to push back and trying to urge Ruth to stay, and also her other daughter-in-law Orpah. But Orpah stayed and went back, but Ruth had that determination and said, I'm going. That was more faith. That was Ruth's faith at work. And see, for many of you, and as we continue to keep looking at this, so we can see what happened, it was life's purpose is the thing that happened here. Ruth didn't go back to Moab. She didn't stay there. So what's happened? What's happening is that life is now happening. Purpose is now happening. Now their destiny is now happening. Somebody, you need to know that because you decided to keep moving and keep going by faith, something is happening here. And see, it's because it's your life purpose, and it's also your destiny is all taking shape because you have that mindset that you're going to continue to keep moving forward. So these are the things that's happening. So what if God is asking you to have faith in someone you know and you heard bad things about? Watch this. Here we go again. Now let's look clearly back at Ruth and Naomi's relationship. Their relationship was good in the beginning. Watch this. The only rift that Naomi and Ruth had was the simple fact that Naomi didn't want to take Ruth back to Bethlehem with her on account of she didn't want to feel the shame or the ridicule, if you will, and also the pushback that Naomi felt that she and Ruth could have received. But I need somebody to understand their relationship was good from start. It wasn't like every time they see each other, they got to keep reintroducing themselves. No, Naomi and Ruth had a great relationship. So here's why I believe the Lord saw that the relationship was actually truthful. It was not no lopsided where Ruth was doing all the giving and Naomi just taking, or Naomi doing all the giving and Ruth just taking. No, it was not. It was a balance across the board relationship. So I believe that's why the Lord now, in order for him to get things in proper order or get them in standing to receive their blessing, because Naomi needed her own special blessing. She left God to go to Moab. But now the Lord was about to use her folly, use her going back on him to use it and make it turn around and work together for her good, but then also it's going to work together for Ruth's good. And see, this thing is all dealing with faith, love, also hope. We can see all this within it as well. So let's look. So because Naomi showed the right actions of love and also faith by truly helping Ruth and not trying to hinder her, sabotage her, or hide her, or derail Ruth. See, now the Lord, he was watching Naomi, because see, Naomi just couldn't come back to Bethlehem without having some good works by faith to be done. And see, the only way the Lord was going to really be able to restore Naomi had to put in work. Naomi was going to have to put faith into somebody. And see, who was that somebody? That somebody is Ruth. And see, because now Naomi, as soon as Ruth in chapter 2, as soon as Ruth asked Naomi if she could go out and glean, if she could go to the fields, Naomi could have still been holding resentment. She could have been holding anger. She could have been holding bitterness. Naomi could have been holding all those things against Ruth because Ruth didn't listen to her. But because Naomi knew that what she needed was on the line, Naomi knew that, I got some desires. I need to get my land back. I need to be restored. I need to get some things done in my life personally. So I better not worry about her. I just better help her and do what is right, because I'm in faith for something. How many of y'all right now, you know that you're in faith for something yourself? And see, right now, for whoever I'm talking to, if you know that you're in faith for something right now, you don't got time to be sitting here giving nobody no crazy eyes, looking at them X, Y, Z. No, you need to stay focused. You need to keep your eyes on the prize. You need to keep your mind on what the Lord needs you to stay focused with, because see, it's going to take all of your faith to help bring forth what it is that you need, because you are in need or in faith for something greater for your own self. I'm talking to somebody out here, somebody you need to know this on tonight. And see, Naomi could have easily just sent Ruth to the wrong field. She could have purposely tried to derail her. She could have felt like, man, this girl gonna come in here, and she could have got jealous. She could have got into a competition with Ruth. Naomi's emotions and feelings could have go so many different kind of ways, if you will. But I really believe that because Naomi stood and she walked it by faith, now Naomi knew she didn't have time for that type stuff. So Naomi knew, man, I'm in faith for too much. It's too much on the line for me. I need help. And because I need help, now I don't got time to look at Ruth. I don't got time to look at nobody else. I don't got time to try to sabotage, slow nobody else down, try to derail nobody. I need something for myself now. And it's going to be the Lord who's going to be the one who's going to be able to give this thing to me. So that means I got to act by faith now. Ruth need help? Yes, Ruth, go ahead, go do it. But Ruth, go to this field. Naomi didn't have to tell her the right fields to go to, but Naomi did. Somebody, I'm talking to somebody, Lord, I have mercy. Naomi told Ruth the right things to do. She didn't give Ruth the wrong information. She didn't send Ruth on a wild goose chase. No, she sent Ruth to the right places Why? So the blocks could begin and the dots could start connecting. And as soon as Naomi started doing the right things, now the Lord started working on things on Naomi's behalf. And see, somebody, you got to understand the Lord, he's working through love. Your faith is working through love. So Naomi didn't know Ruth would become great and also receive redemption. Naomi didn't know this at first. Naomi was just glad, hey, they both arrived there. She didn't know all the things that was going to take place in Bethlehem with herself and also with Ruth. But Naomi knew that, hey, I needed a kinsman redeemer to redeem me and get all my things back, to get me back in position and also right standing with my people and also with my God. And see, everything else was in place, but now Naomi needed to make sure that her relationship with the Lord was intact. And see, the only way she was going to be able to do it, the Lord was looking past some things that what Naomi was looking at. So the Lord then looked and saw, look, Naomi, if I can say it to you like this, Naomi, she couldn't do good to one of her own to one of her own people. The Lord was looking for Naomi. I really need to see your faith on the line. So in order for it to happen and in order for things to really kick off, the Lord needed to see Naomi finally truly believe in Ruth, somebody who was not part of their culture or who was not one of them in the beginning. So see, Naomi truly needed Ruth. Man, Ruth ended up being a seed for Naomi. And because Ruth ended up being a seed, see, even though Naomi tried to push Ruth back or even bury Ruth, if you will, up under, trying to tell her not to go, that not to come with her. But see, every time Naomi was trying to push Ruth back or trying to bury her, see, all she was, Ruth was still that seed that was going to eventually was going to sprout and come up. And see, that's what happened. And see, many of us right now, see, the Lord is purposely putting people around you, and it's the right people. And see, everybody, oh, Lord, have mercy. Whoever I'm talking to on tonight. So let me stick with my notes. So here's what God did for Naomi. He gave Naomi purpose again by raising a male child from Boaz and also through Ruth. So if the Lord will keep me in this, I believe we'll see this in Ruth chapter 4. Where we'll really be able to see how the Lord still ended up blessing Naomi. See, the things that Naomi lost. She lost her 2 sons, also her husband, even her land, even the relationship with the Lord, like how she wanted. Because Naomi stayed in faith, because Naomi did things right by treating Ruth right, now the Lord came in again and restored Naomi. He gave Naomi everything Naomi lost. He gave it back to her. And now Naomi, she now felt whole. She felt full again. She was able to feel complete before she would leave this world. Naomi didn't know. Naomi didn't know that her purpose was hid in her act of kindness and also love and faith to do good to Ruth. The Lord purposely had this thing. Naomi's purpose, Naomi's destiny, it was now tied to Ruth, but also it was hid in Ruth. And see, at any time, if Naomi would have lost faith, if Naomi would not have acted correctly by doing Ruth correctly, then now watch this, that would have started causing Naomi to abort what the plan was to restore her and get her reinstated back to where the Lord needed or desired for her to be. But he needed Naomi to go this way. Naomi, I know you're going to bring your daughter-in-law and see, watch this. I'm hiding your destiny and your purpose in her. Get this part right, Naomi, and watch what takes place. So what you think you lost, do good. What you think you lost, do God have it in plain sight? What you think you lost, do God have it in plain sight? Is it hid in the one next to you? Ruth was good enough for Ruth was good enough for Moab, but she wasn't good enough for Bethlehem, if you will, in the beginning. But Ruth accomplished more and became more successful in Bethlehem than she did in Moab. So see, watch this. See, if Naomi would have stayed on track by her own personal thinkings and not beginning to look at Ruth and see Ruth through the eyes of love and faith, then Naomi would have missed that golden opportunity to be able to be reinstated, to be restored, and also to gain access or gain all the Lord wanted to get back to her. If she would not have looked at Ruth through the eyes of love and faith. And see, those were the things that Naomi, she had to do those things if she wanted to get back what was hers or what the Lord was ready to bring back to her. So how did Ruth get to her redemption and also her abundance? How did Ruth get back? How did Ruth get there? Ruth got there by her rising above the thoughts of Naomi that she wouldn't, Ruth was already feeling when Naomi was trying to push her back. But now, see, here we go again. It was almost like it was a tug of war. But see, now Naomi was pushing back on Ruth. But now Ruth, because she was pushed back by Naomi, now Ruth had to allow her mindset and also allow her faith to rise above being pushed back or being urged to stay at a place to where there was no more growth, there was no more success for Ruth. So now she had to push past, man, Naomi, I was trying to go with you. And I wanted to experience the good life. I wanted to experience your God. But Naomi, you pushed me back. See, Ruth could have easily got stuck as well. But because Ruth had enough faith on the inside of her, she didn't allow what Naomi did just to even derail or stop her. She was able to keep pushing forward. Ruth kept the needle moving forward. Why? Because Ruth was ready to rise above the thoughts of Naomi that she would not fit in when they got back to Bethlehem, Judah. So also, Ruth had to adopt an abundance mindset that matched where she was going. Ruth had to adopt a mindset of abundance. Ruth could not come there in Bethlehem still with that stuck mentality, with that I don't know mentality, with that scarcity mindset. So Ruth had to leave those things back there in Moab. Because see, when Ruth was on the road, on the journey to get to Bethlehem, her mindset had to already begin to start changing. Ruth had to begin to even crave and want more of everything. That means more of Israel's God, more of the relationships with the people, and also more of everything. And see, that's the mindset that Ruth had to have. And I really believe that's the mindset that the Lord is saying for many of us on tonight. There's many of you may have walked away from the Lord, but the Lord is saying, look, just by your continual act of faith, do good, act of faith, and come back to me. I will receive you. And for those of you, you know you're still saved. You know that you're still walking this thing out. You're still fighting a good fight of faith. Hey, keep doing what you know that is right to do. Keep doing what you know is right to do. And my last one, and we'll close. Ruth didn't allow her own personal or private thoughts about herself stop her. Many of you on tonight, even though other people may have known, heard, or said things about you, and yes, the things possibly are true, But watch this. Ruth clearly showed that she didn't care. She didn't worry about what everybody else was thinking about or talking about. Ruth continued to stay the course. Ruth put all her faith, her trust in God. And watch this. Because she didn't stop. She didn't quit. Now the Lord seen her, and the Lord repaid her for all of her acts of love and kindness that she showed towards her mother-in-law. Whoever I'm talking to on tonight, keep doing good, but moving beyond doing good, allow your good, watch this, allow your faith in all. Pick up that mindset of that abundant mindset and not a scarcity mindset. See, a scarcity mindset, you would think that because somebody else is blessed over here, you would think that the Lord just going to stop blessing because he blessed somebody else over there. No, he didn't put a fence around favor and blessings. There's no fence around it. He's looking to see whenever he see your faith, he see that you'll continue to do the work, then watch in the right season, he's going to allow all the dots that after everything has been connected, he's going to show up for you on your behalf, and everything that was promised to you by faith, watch this, that's lining up with God's good and perfect will for your life, for his purpose and destiny for your life, is going to come to you. So for whoever you are tonight, keep believing, keep fighting the good fight of faith, keep trusting and knowing that the Lord is with you, he got you, and keep allowing your mindset to keep elevating and keep rising above negative things that you might see, hear, and also feel. Because you're moving, you're going somewhere. God have a great destiny prepared for many of you as you continue to keep living and walking by faith. So my time is up on tonight. I love you. God bless each and every one of you. I hope and pray that something was said to help bring life, to bring clarity, to bring wisdom, knowledge, spiritual understanding to whoever you are on tonight. So that way, as you continue to keep moving by faith, as you continue to keep living this life, you will get to that place where the Lord truly needs you to be for his will and his glory. I love you all. Have a blessed evening. Have sweet sleep and sweet dreams. Till we do this again, I'll holler at you. God bless you.